So guys, let's first start with the burrito. This signature dish is so good because really you can make it anytime, no matter what you have in your refrigerator. You literally just have to pick the veggies, the protein, whatever toppings you want. If you want to use grains, you can use those. I love the burrito because of how simple the ingredients are, but how delicious it is. And it's nostalgic for me. I grew up on burritos. My mom made bean and cheese burritos, I think, every single week of my life because she was raising 6 kids. She'd have a big crock pot full of pintos cooking every week. She'd also have rice, a big pot of rice because it's not expensive, it's healthy for you, and it's easy to make, right? So I grew up on that. But you can make a burrito of any kind. I'm giving you 5 different kind of favorites that I like because I'll do the bean and cheese. I'll do the chicken and rice. I'll do the stir fry burrito. It's like you really do have to have variety because burritos can get boring too. And if you're out of wraps, just use a bowl, right? You can do a burrito bowl. So listen guys, this is gonna be super easy to do. I'm gonna walk you through my bean and rice burrito because it's one of my favorites to do here at the house. So your first step in any of the signature dishes is gonna be just decide what you want in it. So for the burrito, decide what you wanna put in your burrito. Is it whatever you have left over in the fridge? Is it something that you're gonna make fresh tonight? Are there certain veggies that you have and then you don't have? Is there a protein that you have? Maybe you have some leftover chicken from a grill and greens night. Maybe you're like, oh, you know what? I just got canned beans. I'm gonna use those. I'm gonna make some rice. You can decide what you want in your burrito. If it's just veggies, I love a veggie burrito. I always do like zucchini with a little bit of peppers and onions and spinach, and I add goat cheese in that one because I like that creaminess in it, and you could even add avocado to the veggie. So many great different options for you when it comes to the burrito. But grab your ingredients now and then join me back. All right, so let's rock and roll, you guys. What I decided is to do a bean and rice burrito tonight. And what I'm gonna use for veggies is onion, tomato, avocado, boom, boom. And then I'm gonna do a little cheese. Cheddar cheese is one of our favorites. It's got a nice sharp flavor. For rice, I'm just gonna boil up this jasmine rice. It's a Thai premium rice. I like it. I try all different kinds of rices. And what I usually do is I cook my rice in chicken broth. Gives it a nice flavor. I don't know what it is, but I like it, and I usually do that. And then I also have leftover pintos here, like I was telling you guys. Boom. So the leftover pintos, I'm just gonna warm up, and I'm gonna mash them up into like, you know, smashed up, refried looking beans, but I don't even add oil. I just add a little bit of sea salt to my beans. And what I'll do is I'll start with the rice because it takes the longest to cook, right? So always start with the longest thing that's like, oh, that's gonna take the whole 15, 20 minutes. Rice, it depends on how much you're having, but a cup of rice isn't gonna take much longer than 15, 20 minutes, right? All right, so refilling up a little bit of rice here. So if you have a family of 4, a cup of rice is plenty for burritos. You know, if people like rice on the side, you can make a little bit more, but it's a 1-to-2 ratio. It really is. I mean, no matter what kind of rice you have, it's usually 1-to-2. 1 cup of rice, 2 cups of fluid. So I had to find the chicken broth. Here we go, I'm back. So 1 cup of rice, 2 cups of fluid. So if I don't have 2 cups of chicken broth, then I'll just go 1 cup of chicken broth, 1 cup of rice. I mean 1 cup of water because you know what, honestly, chicken broth only lasts a certain number of days, and if I'm not gonna use it this week, I don't wanna open a fresh one just for 1 cup. There's usually 4 per container. So, I mean, chicken broth makes everything taste better. I mean, if you're making farro, if you're making rice, if you're doing quinoa, whatever your grain is that you're boiling, it always tastes a little bit more delicious with the chicken broth. And then I'm just gonna boil to simmer. So we'll get it on high heat, just start boiling quickly. Guys, add a lid because adding a lid speeds up the time it takes for it to boil, and then you put it on simmer. Now while that's going, I'm gonna heat up my beans and cut up my vegetables, right? I am simply heating up beans. Maybe you're heating up chicken or steak, or maybe you're sauteing up some vegetables right now to start cooking in the skillet so that that gets going. All right, so then I'm just gonna cut up my little veggies here. Oh, and I forgot to tell you guys. wraps, right? Mine I cook. So these are actually uncooked flour tortillas. I need to start making my own tortillas because honestly, I absolutely love the way that a tortilla tastes when it's uncooked and you just saute it a couple times on each side. It's so good. My son loves having a little quesadilla with some melted cheese. Like that's what I'll make for my kids, right? That'll be a whole separate video. But, you know, I'm just gonna cut up enough for me and Vito, right? There's two of us. So I know him and I are both gonna want some diced onion, right? You're not gonna need that much if you have 1 or 2 burritos. I tend to have 2 burritos and I make them small because I hate an overloaded burrito where you can hardly get your mouth around it. It's all falling out, right, of the burrito and all the food is on your plate and you end up eating it just off your plate. So I'm just gonna cut up some cubes for us, and if I think that he's gonna want a ton of onion, I'll cut more, but well, these are slices, these are good. So you can do cubes, you can do little slices, you know, whatever you wanna do, all right? It's really all about just cutting up those vegetables that you want in your burrito. You can start sauteing them right away. Maybe you're not even doing rice, maybe you're just doing veggie, so it'll take you even less time. When I only do a veggie, oh my gosh, and I don't have to wait for rice, it takes like literally 5 minutes to make it. Then I'm cutting up some tomatoes. My kids like tomatoes. I like them in the burrito. I know Vito likes them in the burrito. I just keep little slices like this so they're nice and bite-sized, so they go right nice into that. And the kids can eat them easily. I sprinkle a little sea salt on there for them to give it a little bit of that minerality, and you know, it always makes the tomato, it kind of cuts the bite of that tomato. Sometimes they can taste a little bit, you know, acidic or a little sour. So I'm doing 3 tomatoes because I'm hoping that Luca will want some. Ray, she doesn't have the teeth to chew them up yet, so she'll just, you know, put it in her mouth and spit it out. All right, then what I'll do is I'll grate some cheese and I'll slice my avocado just so it's ready. You know, usually I just use a cutting board to prep everything, and since in my family we like to make our own, I just kind of prep it all, put them in little quadrants, and then, you know, when Vito is making his burrito, whoever, you know, if your kids are making their own burrito, oop, here's the rice is boiling. I'm gonna put it up on simmer. Boom. And those of you that have rice cookers, you could also do a rice cooker, which you just take your eyes off, but you know, you set that on a longer timer. You'd have to get that prepped ahead of time, you know, because you got to prepare if you want the rice cooker, because it does it nice and slow, but it does it all on its own, right? And it turns off when it's done. I do that occasionally if I am going to pick up the kids myself and I want to get dinner started. All right, just gonna grate a little bit of cheese too, because you know, a little bit of cheese goes a long way. You don't need a lot, but man, a little bit cheddar on a bean and rice burrito, holy moly. That brings me back in time. So we'll grate this up. And now I'm thinking like, okay, me and Vito might want some, and then I'm probably gonna make a quesadilla for Luca because he really likes a little bit of that melted cheese on those tortillas. Here we go, we got all the ingredients. So what I would do next is I would wait for 2 things. I'm waiting on the rice, and I'm waiting to cook up these tortillas because these are uncooked. I need to cook them right before we eat. But everything, like we're doing a little toppings, hot sauce. Decide what your toppings are. A little bit of salsa, okay? Those will be the 2 toppings that we use. Along with avocado, I consider a topping, but it's also a vegetable. And I'll take out how many flour tortillas I want. I'll put them on plates. I'll probably do 1, 2, 3. Me, Luca, Ray, and Vito go through 3 to start. And then if people want seconds, I'll just heat up an extra tortilla. But we're done, right? We're just waiting for the rice, and then I'll fire up the beans, and I'll cook up the tortillas, and dinner is served. I'll see you for another signature dish next time.